This guy got a stereo player. Oh, it's awesome. Fair play, man. Fair play. Who needs headphones? Greetings and welcome to the van on this glorious Saturday afternoon. The sun is shining, the sunglasses are on. I'm in a happy mood. I'm good. With all the craziness and all the bollocks that's going on in the world, let's just enjoy a nice sunny. That's a butterfly on the side of that house there. That's interesting. Anyway, today's video, I want to talk about Russel Brand. Now, I've been a fan of Russel Brand for a long time. Back in the early 2010s, when he first got onto YouTube, he used to do the Trues, his YouTube videos.
Welcome to the Trues.
And I used to absolutely love him. And I've kind of got a lot to owe to Russell, really, because he was one of the main reasons that I started getting interested in politics in the first place. And it was because of these videos. I used to work night shifts at the time, quite a mundane job, and every day he'd upload one of these sort of 15-20 minute videos, and they were great. They're absolutely brilliant. They mainly consisted of just reading the newspapers each day and just bashing the Murdoch Sun press, and he was absolutely brilliant at it.
Dun the Sun. Hello, secret of Pizza Express. Why is the Sun for 2 consecutive days doing racist news? Pizza Express is serving only halal chicken without telling customers. How are halal chicken slaughtered? Halal chicken must be alive when they're slaughtered. Of course, everything's got to be alive before it dies. That is the nature of life. British chickens, we always make sure they're dead before we kill them.
We only want British Christian meat, and we want it dead before we kill it. He was brilliant. Russell was brilliant at these, just pointing out the hypocrisy and the stupidity in the Murdoch press. And it was around that time, 2014, just before Brexit, of all the sort of, British nationalism and stuff. And he was so good at pointing this stuff out. And he used to, he used to take the piss out of Parliament and the monarchy and stuff like that as well.
My Lords and members of the House of Commons, my government will legislate in the interests of everyone in our country.
What about poor people? I do sometimes want to go to the Queen. What is the thing that you've got in your head that makes it all right for this to happen? Because it must be that you think that poor people are scum. Is it that? Because otherwise, how do you justify that mad, expensive hat? I'm afraid there is no money available for nothing. What's that thing on your head? The thing on your head made out of precious diamonds. I couldn't possibly do this job without my shiny, fucking expensive hat.
Now, like I said before, I've got a lot to thank Russel Brand for. He was quite integral in me getting into politics in the first place. I was never really engaged in politics during my 20s. I always used to vote, I used to vote Labour because my family voted Labour. It seemed like the right thing to do, but I was never really engaged in politics. And Russel Brand was the first one to sort of make me think, hang on, the newspapers sometimes lie. Politicians don't always tell the truth. I just used to blindly believe this crap. So he was definitely instrumental in opening my mind, and I thank him for that. And I've always generally enjoyed his content. But over the last year, there's definitely been a shift in the way he thinks, his politics in general. I mean, his coverage of the pandemic was bordering on anti-vax in certain places, but most of all, I agreed with his content on coronavirus. Especially his coverage of what was going on in Australia with the freedoms that are taken away from the people there, and generally he was just pro-choice, wasn't it? Just generally, if you want the vaccine, take the vaccine. If you don't, you don't. And that was fine. But where I'm really starting to get worried is his recent videos covering Ukraine and Russia.
The backdrop to the 2014 coup and annexation cannot be understood without looking at the US strategy to open Ukrainian markets to foreign investors and give control of its economy to giant multinational corporations. What? America trying to open up new markets. Hi, how dare you? How could you even? What evidence? When is there previous history of America trying to open up markets to global conglomerates? Oh yeah, always, all the time, with every single war there's ever been. A key tool for this has been the International Monetary Fund, which leverages aid loans to push governments to adopt policies friendly to foreign investors. These groups like IMF, they all pose as like these neutral agencies, but they've all got funding, they've all got an agenda, they're all working in collusion with corporate interests. We will lend you some money, go on, as long as you keep talking, do exactly what we tell you. So this is a thing that goes on. You can't simply just absorb the crap that flows out of mainstream corporate media. You can't just watch that and go, oh no, Putin's bad, oh no. There's a whole set of agencies dedicated to destabilising unfriendly regimes and installing regimes that are friendly to American business interests.
Now, I don't disagree with a single thing that he has said there. Everything I agree on. It's important. We have to talk about these issues. We have to talk about American interest in Ukraine, American corporation interest in Ukraine, the fact that NATO are pushing forward. These are all really important discussions. I'm glad he's talking about it because we need to talk about both sides. The thing I have a problem with his coverage on Ukraine, and which I think is dangerous, is he just won't say Putin is bad. He just won't. He won't do it. And it's crazy.
This conflict is occurring amid a degree of complexity. It's already, just reading this, not as simple as, that Putin, he's a bastard. He might be a bastard.
Might be a bastard. He's bombing women and children. Russell, just say the man is evil. Why can't you say that the man is evil? Like I said, totally legitimate to talk about both sides of what's going on here and to talk about NATO and talk about America corporations. We need to talk about these things. But call Putin what he is. He just won't. He won't call him evil. He won't call him a bastard in this case. And it gets me thinking, why? And is it because he's got a lot of sort of pro-Russian viewers? He's got a very, very big channel now, Russel Brand. Look at these stats here. Generally with these websites that estimate YouTubers' earnings, you can kind of sort of put it in the half what the estimate is, maybe a little bit extra. So I think it's fair to say on that he's probably most months earning about 100 grand a month. He's got a lot of subscribers. And like I say, if you look in the comment section of his videos, he has a lot of pro-Trump commentators, a load of pro-Russian commentators on his platform. Is he too scared to say that Putin is evil? Because it just doesn't fit with his old narrative. Like back in his old days of his old truths videos, he was so anti-war. Around that time we had the war in Syria.
Are we going to embark on action that could last for years?
That's why I think parliamentary democracy doesn't work in its current form, because it's not representative enough. That poor bloke, you see, you're not gonna. I've been saying for about 150 fucking years, stop going to these fucking wars. Oh, we're going to another war. Oh, bollocks, down I go. You would at some point try diplomacy. You would at some point try communication. You can't. They're all radicalised. They're lunatics. They're beheading people. Why? I don't know. They seem to think that they're under constant aerial attack and that it's been going on for years and that the true economic reasons behind it are masked and it's a continual war to keep the domestic populations of those countries terrified so that they won't be able to focus on their own problems. Diplomatic solution, as you know from your own life, you won't get anywhere through violence and aggression.
It's not the same Russel Brand. The old Russel Brand would condemn war at all costs, and it seems like he only doesn't like it when it's the West that are doing it. When Russia are doing it, he won't condemn Putin. And there has to only be one reason for that, is he's scared because a large portion of his viewers are pro-Putin. The man is evil. Plain and simple, the man is evil. He is bombing hospitals. He is bombing women and children. Russel Brand, tell it like it is.
The war in Ukraine is a tragedy for the people that are dealing with the reality of conflict, the reality of being displaced, the reality of losing people they love. But to simplify the narrative does them a greater disservice to say simply that Putin is an evil expansionist, even though he may be. Maybe he is evil. He is evil, Russell. Why can't you say it? He's bombing women and children. And this is what I don't get, And also, you can talk about everything that he's talked about. Like I say, with NATO, with the expansion of NATO and the Americans, corporations, this is all really bad stuff that are trying to influence Ukraine. But at the end of the day, that's for Ukraine to decide. Not for Russia to come in and start bombing the shit out of them. Why is it Russia's business whether Ukraine let US corporation influence into their country or even NATO influence? It's up to Ukraine. If Ukraine want to put soldiers on their borders, that's up to them. But they're not the ones actually encroaching into another country like Russia are doing. It amazes me, and it's upsetting because I think, like I said, I think a lot of what Russell Brand says is really, really important. Everything that he's talking about, he's always been consistent throughout all his career on corporations. I swing with different things, but mainly I agree with everything that he's got to say. I weren't too happy when he was against voting in his early days. I assume he still is, but then he still has this sort of dream of a utopia land of sort of small communities. That's what he always goes on about, isn't it? He doesn't like big conglomerates of government. He doesn't like big governments. He wants small communities where things can happen, and it sounds nice, but it's just not achievable. This is my problem with people's thinking like that. It sounds absolutely amazing to have small communities and small governance where you don't have big power situated in one place. It sounds fantastic, but it's just not achievable because human beings are selfish, they're power hungry, and inevitably someone will rise to the top that's evil and ruin it for everyone. The few evil bastards always ruin it for the rest. So I think social democracy is the least bad of everything that we can get. And, that's just my thoughts. But it's not that often that I disagree with the guy. But on this one, I think this is dangerous. He's got a lot of followers there. What was it, like about 5 million people? And he just won't call Putin for what he is. He's evil. How can you not say? How can you say maybe he's a bastard? How can you say maybe he's evil? He's bombing hospitals. He's bombing women and children. He has murdered thousands of people. How can you not say he's evil? I don't know, guys. Well, what's your thoughts? I really generally do like the guy, and I like the majority of what he's saying. But I just think this Ukraine narrative is really dangerous. Just that small bit, he has to call out Putin for what he is. Till next time, guys, enjoy the glorious sunshine. I think we're going to be in for a good March, April. Take care.